Violence and violent images permeate more and more aspects of our lives, and I think it's time to draw the line. I know that one place parents want us to draw the line is with violence in video games.
On December 9th, 1993, the United States Senate held a hearing discussing violence in video games. As the medium began shifting ever closer to realism, so too did its depiction of graphic content. Senator Lieberman would lead the charge against the likes of Nintendo and SEGA, demanding to know why such a thing would ever be allowed in the hands of children. The senator would use two games as examples of the extreme nature of violence available to the influential minds of children everywhere, one of which was Mortal Kombat, well noted for its extreme violence. And the other...
The second game is Night Trap, which is a game set in a sorority house. The object is to keep hooded men from hanging the young woman from a hook or drilling their necks with a tool designed to drain their blood. Night Trap uses actual actors and achieves an unprecedented level of realism. What is particularly troubling about the scene in this film that we have an extract of is a graphic depiction of the violence against women with strong overtones of sexual violence. I find this segment deeply offensive and believe that it simply should be taken off the market.
I must advise discretion before we go forward. What you're about to see is a scene that would help change the industry forever.
Megan, this isn't gonna work. You're not scaring me. Wait. What are you doing? No! Megan, no!
Yeah, that was it. Seriously, it was that scene that caused such an uproar about this game. This is what United States senators showed up to talk about. And, well, that's what we're talking about today.
I can't breathe. Oh, I'll get it.
Hello there, I'm Nick, and this is the Game Apologist, where we look for the good in bad games. If you know anything about video game history, you know about Night Trap. Like I shared at the start of the video, this game, along with the likes of Mortal Kombat and Doom, were used as scapegoats to show how violent video games had become. But as you can clearly see, that violence is a bit overblown. All the same, this newfound attention to the title quickly catapulted from yet another FMV game on the SEGA CD into a cult favorite. So much so that it warranted a 25th anniversary edition. And if you don't know what FMV stands for, well, it stands for full motion video. And those were all the rage back in the 90s. And by all the rage, I mean video game companies were trying to make it all the rage. You'd see these things all over the likes of SEGA CD. And, well, we all know how well that played out. It was a cool gimmick, but most of us weren't here to watch crappy videos. We wanted to play games. Because that's really all these things were. They're just a video playing out with an on-screen prompt appearing every now and then. React fast enough to keep the video going, or miss it and see a shoddily edited failure screen pop up. Most of these were just QuickTime events. They just demand you to pay attention to a terrible movie.
Don't you love the smell of the sewers in the morning? They smell like victory!
And Night Trap is undoubtedly one of the most famous FMV games to ever be created. But once you get past the Senate hearings, is there anything worthwhile in the game itself? Well, that's what we're here to find. Oh boy, we're just jumping into this, aren't we? So let's say, like me, you just start this game without really understanding it. I mean, you've heard of it, you know about the Senate hearings, you think you know how FMV games work, you've seen silly clips of it every now and again, but you don't really know what it's about. Alright, we got the game, let's not waste any time and jump right in. Huh, that logo, looks familiar. We start off with a magic man made of white noise, maniacally laughing as he traps teenagers who could very easily move out of the way of that thing. Okay, just, all right. You gonna help him? You're okay. Sorry, Brad, it wasn't working out. Bye! We then transition away to a SWAT team who tells us that teenagers have been disappearing from a resort, and they had tapped into a security feed of the winery on the grounds. Well, winery and traps, that's the whole thing. They've also sent in an undercover agent to go figure out what's going on. Even though you already have access to the cameras, you got guns, or just, sure, fine, whatever. I'm sure you know what you're doing. What do you guys call yourselves?
I'm Sims, Scat Team Commander.
What?
Scat Mission 230.
Maybe Mr. Lieberman was actually onto something.
I'm the Scat Man!
So, what? Why are you looking at me? Oh, I'm not comfortable with this. All right, well, we're on our way, and, let's see here. No instructions for anything. It's fine, whatever. It's just an FMV game. There can't be that much to do. Let's figure this out. All right, so I'm just clicking around, and, all right, so you can swap between the different cameras of the winery. Okay, easy enough. And there's these walking trash bags, and clicking them doesn't do anything. I mean, are they supposed to be here? That light keeps blinking at me. I don't think they're supposed to be here. What's this do? Is it an option to change the colors of the color? What is this? Hang on, what's this girl doing? Okay, never mind. And then there's this, what? Am I watching a sitcom? What is this? Okay, then there are more of these guys. I feel like there are too many of these guys. Shouldn't I be able to do something? I feel like I should be able to do something. Okay, and then here comes a car full of children singing Row Your Boat. Or, sorry, teenagers singing Row Your Boat. What? Okay, more of these guys. Okay. Game, calm down. There are too many things happening at once here. What am I supposed to focus on? What? Are they singing the theme song to the game? Here come more of the trash boys. You could probably just move around them, or, well, you kind of just let that happen. What? Wait, what? But, what? Okay, well, that was confusing. Well, turns out I should have been a little more patient and paid attention to the main menu. There are instructions right here. If you're playing with a mouse like I was, you need to use the left click to swap between cameras and the right click to activate traps. You need to keep your eye on this little green blinking light, which will change yellow when an augur, these guys, are nearing a trap, and then click when it turns red to activate the trap. And these colors represent a house code. You need to be on the correct corresponding color to activate the traps, otherwise they won't work. You need to pay attention to these family members as they'll occasionally announce when they're changing the code out. It's all silly and contrived, but whatever, we got a game here. Easy enough. So let's hop back in with knowledge on our side, and we'll just blast through this. Hang on, what? Oh, there's a guy over, wait, no, what? Stop, calm down. What is happening? How am I even more confused when I know what I'm doing? This game is a nightmare. If you are focused on capturing augurs, you're not going to get any of the story, as they'll keep swarming this house constantly, forcing you to swap away from whatever narrative is happening. So things just keep happening and you'll have no idea what's going on. And you can't even rely on the same traps. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. You have to wait for the exact specific time and location predetermined by the game, which really sucks because there'll be multiple augurs in multiple rooms, so if you focus on some that you just can't capture, you'll miss the ones you can. At one point, there was only a literal second between opportunities to capture an augur in one room and one in the other. There is no variation, and there are no second chances. Miss too many, and the Scatman pops back up and sends you right back to the start of the game. On top of all this, you're likely going to be missing the rare prompts to switch over color codes.
I'd feel better if we switched the code again to green.
And let me tell you how fun it is trying to figure out what color to use when you're trying to trap these idiots. The only way to get better is to play this over and over and over. You can capture augurs or get more story. You can't do both. So if you're playing this game well, or at least with the intention of winning, the game becomes an insane mess. This is what it's going to look like during a good playthrough. So you better get used to hearing this stupid theme for 25 minutes. Even when you're doing a solid job, the game pulls some real cheap curveballs, letting you capture the teenagers or scat members and giving you an instant game over where you get to do it all over again. Even following online guides led me to failure. This game rarely gives you a second to breathe. So, obviously, this game was not designed to be powered through on your first, second, or probably even first dozen attempts. They didn't design this thing with the idea that you'd be following along with an online guide. And honestly, if you're playing this for the first time, I don't know how anyone would have the patience to play through this any other way. That means that the people playing this in '93 would have probably run into the same scenes over and over and over again. So if this isn't much of a game, how's the video portion? Hello there, I'm Nick, and this is the Film Apologist, where we look for the good in bad movies. It's really bad. Okay, so my first couple attempts at playing this thing didn't really give me an idea of what was happening on screen. There's trash people, creepy glowy-eyed girl with an off-center eye, that's weird. I think there are vampires, scat soldiers, a song in the middle of all this. There's a lot of stupid ideas happening under this roof, and I don't really know what's going on. Well, spoilers, there really isn't that much happening here. Like I mentioned earlier, this team is here to investigate the disappearance of teenagers. They've tapped into the security cameras and traps of the Martin house. A family of vampires, or family of people in the process of becoming vampires? I don't know. It doesn't matter, they're vampires. As are the augurs, apparently. These are creatures that need blood to survive, but have none of the characteristics of vampires to sustain themselves. And the Martins are here to do charity work for them, and I don't know, man. They're hobo vampires. I don't know what you want me to tell them. I don't know. Is that offensive? Stupid trash vampires. So instead of having teeth or faces, they instead have to use these tools that look a lot like those extra accessories to action figures, but you didn't actually know what action figures they went to, so they just end up in a pile somewhere, and then you'd find them later, and you're like, I don't know who this goes to. Is this a foot soldiers thing? I don't know. What's this? So these girls roll up, along with the little brother, to the Martin house where they will be spending the night. I could try and name them all for you, but the only one that really matters here is Kelly. She's the undercover agent for Scat. And will often look directly at the camera to address Control, or, well, the player character. Victor and Sheila Martin peace out for a bit, leaving the hosting duties to their children, Jeff and Sarah, and their cousin, Tony. Here we also meet Eddie, a neighbor of the Martins who, I guess is supposed to be a red herring? I don't know. Since the parents are gone, the girls decide to throw a party, and I guess party in this world means badly lip-syncing the theme of the game. After that assault on our ears, Tony and Jeff pop in to alert Sarah someone's been tinkering with the security.
This is my cousin, Tony.
Well, that's all I needed. I would say that's a bit quick, but who can blame the girl? Look at Tony, killing it with that banana cream color, buddy. Who needs a shirt? There's plenty of room in that sweater for two. Well, unfortunately for, whoever this is, Tony clearly only has eyes on, whoever this is. Oh, wow. Security cameras that can quick jump to a tight shot. How advanced. Tony mentions to Jeff that one of the girls reminds him of Madeline. Obviously, these masters of narration are setting things up for something truly special. I can't wait to see where it leads. And there goes that plot thread. Whatever, let's just get this stupid thing over with. So everything goes crazy.
Yeah, right.
Everyone's running around and screaming. Kelly is trying to protect the girls from the augurs and the Martins, and depending on how quick you are as a player, they either escape or end up captured, either by the augurs or an accidental click of the button by Control. Oops! Oh, and Eddie runs into that kid from earlier and gives him a laser gun who can kill... sure, fine, whatever.
Wait, don't shoot! It's me! Listen, I don't fool him!
You've done your job, Eddie. You're no longer needed. We take a quick break from the action to sit everyone in the living quarters for a nice healthy slice of expository dialogue, explaining what the augurs are, the Martins' role in all of this, and then we get right back into it. Did they just vaudeville hook that dude? Exit stage left. Once they strip out the side characters, it's up to you to save Kelly from the Martins. If she survives all of them, she'll thank Control for all their help, and you're left with the good ending.
Nah, you wouldn't.
Oops!
Oh, I can't believe you do this to me after everything we've been
Bye! I know I rushed through this. We could break this down scene by scene and take pot shots at every individual thing that happens here, but this is low-hanging fruit. It's a cheesy bit of film from the mid-'80s, and I'm tired of talking about it. I've seen these stupid scenes so many times at this point, and I'm at my limit, guys. This doesn't work as a game. This doesn't work as a movie. So why does this thing have such a large fan base? Why is this a touchstone in gaming history? Why does this game matter? Well, let's get into it. Look, there's probably no way we'd be talking about this game today if it wasn't for those '93 Senate hearings. Those meetings, ironically enough, helped push this game into cult status. This was a SEGA CD game, for crying out loud. It wasn't exactly flying off the shelves, but thanks to all the attention, it got ported to anything that could run FMV games. And as frustrating as the version I played was, it's nowhere near as bad as the original version. In the re-release, you can see what's happening on the other cameras, regardless of what you have on the main screen. The original game just had icons you could work off of. Granted, this original one had some things the new one didn't, like an introduction explaining what to do and, oh my goodness, yes. Of course, the original version will also send you straight into a game over if you watch this scene for too long. Seriously. Regardless of how you play it, this is still pretty bare bones and not very good. But it plays exactly like it should, and gives you plenty of tools to succeed as long as you're paying attention and quick to react. It's still a neat little piece of media. The gimmick is interesting and, for the time, very ambitious. Bold, crazy new experiments don't normally pan out perfectly the first time. Night Trap was only one of many FMV games that haven't aged great. Okay, let's be honest, a lot of us hated this stuff even back in the 90s, but I doubt we'd have Five Nights at Freddy's without the likes of this game. And if nothing else, it's hilarious. Without the game element, Night Trap really is one of those it's so bad it's good kind of films. And they know it. Everybody is hamming it up and having a great time, and it shows. This was always meant to be cheesy and hilarious. The interactive element just reminds me of those schlocky midnight spook shows from the 40s and 50s. Everything about this film is memorable. The goofy acting, the insane plot, the quotable lines, that ridiculous song, there's genuine joy and fun all over this thing. That's why I rushed through the movie portion as much as I did. You really should experience it for yourself, even if it is just watching it on YouTube. Still, for $15, the Anniversary Edition does include a better version of the game with as good of a picture quality as they could ever scrape together. It also includes a bunch of interesting behind-the-scenes stuff as well. Again, you can find a lot, if not all of it, on YouTube, but this is the kind of remake we should be pushing for. As much as I love having an already great game updated with a new coat of paint, and there are certainly classics that have benefited from getting modern updates to help make their formula shine, I think it's still pretty great when they take something that was never really good to begin with and at least attempting to improve the thing, even if the final product isn't a masterpiece. This is definitely a case of the story behind the game being far more interesting than the game itself. The congressional hearings are one thing, but the long history of getting Night Trap onto a platform is crazy as well. This game was released in 1992, but it had been filmed in 1987. They originally made this thing for a VHS-based gaming machine. And even when it was finally released, they still had a challenge bringing it back for the 25th Anniversary Edition. It's bonkers. And of course, the tragic story of Dana Plato can't go unmentioned either. They put so much focus on her because, well, she was the biggest name actor they could find, thanks to her role in Different Strokes. Between the filming of Night Trap and its eventual release of the game, she separated from her husband in the same wake her mother died, had most of her money stolen, lost custody of her son, had been arrested for holding up a video store in Vegas with a pellet gun, and then arrested again for forging a prescription the same year of this game's release. She passed away at 34 years old after suffering a short life filled with addiction. There's nothing really else to say there. It's just terrible. This is the only thing I've ever known her for. And I thought she was adorable in this game. I know there's no direct correlation. I just find it kind of annoying that politicians were making such a stink about a problem that didn't exist, while the person on the box was in a living hell. It's crazy what this game was connected to. This silly, goofy, charming thing spun into controversy and forever is connected to tragedy. Night Trap's a bad game, but it proves that even a bad game can tell us an interesting story, be it the one it presents or the one behind the scenes. And for that, if nothing else, deserves our attention and its place in gaming history. Ski bop bop bada bop, scat warriors. Ski bop bop bada bop.
And let me say that for the record, I want to state that Night Trap will never appear on a Nintendo system. Obviously, it would not pass our guidelines. This game, which as you've indicated, promotes violence against women, simply has no place in our society.